You're listening to Interviews, the podcast that cracks the entrepreneurship code. I'm your host, Laurent Autin. I'm an entrepreneur, coach to entrepreneurs, and startup mentor with more than 20 years' experience running companies and advising entrepreneurs. Being an entrepreneur is the most difficult job there is. There are no practical guidelines. So join me every week and learn how you can better navigate your entrepreneurship journey and become an exceptional entrepreneur. This is episode 122, and we are flying virtually to Belgium. My guest is Stefan Debois, the CEO and co-founder of Pointerpro, an assessment software platform that helps professional services companies to automate their advisory processes. Stefan loves digital marketing. More specifically, he is passionate about using technology to create meaningful online interactions with people. In 2011, he made an iPad quiz about his daughter with the purpose to entertain the kids at her birthday party. Based on that experience, he created Tablet Quiz, allowing people to create their own iPad quizzes without technical knowledge. In 2012, he made the decision to quit his job and transfer Tablet Quiz into Survey Anyplace, which is now Pointerpro, which is bootstrapped to 3 million USD ARR. And before founding Pointerpro, Stefan worked for 15 years in several consulting companies as a consultant, project manager, and account manager. Hi, Stefan. Thank you very much for being on the show today.
Hello, Laurent. Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's start. First, I'd like to know about your journey because, one third of my guests, they come from the corporate sector, move to entrepreneurs, to being an entrepreneur. It seems that it's exactly the case for you. So tell us a little bit what happened.
Yeah, exactly. I'm an engineer as a educational background, and I started in consulting afterwards. Like in the beginning of my career, I started with PricewaterhouseCoopers and became PricewaterhouseCoopers. And then I switched to CSC, Computer Science Corporation. So what I've done there is I would say large scale software system implementations like SAP that you probably or that we all know, to implement those kind of systems at large companies, multinational companies. And to do consulting, and I followed a bit the traditional career track, consultant, project manager, and then afterwards also some more commercial roles. But then, after several years, I wanted to create something myself, to create a product, but also a company myself. And then, the most logical choice was to do something in software, of course, combining my work experience with my educational background. And then the only question was what exactly. So I didn't know in the beginning, or I was hesitating between different options. And then decided to just to get me familiar with the technology again, because after 15 years of my educational degree, the technology had changed quite a bit. So as a side project, I did this tablet quiz, which started with a quiz for my daughter's birthday, and then made a website out of it. So but then we have seen that we had, because I was doing this together with an ex-colleague, we had some traction of companies also in the US, for example, who used the quiz to entertain people at their HR event, for example. And then we decided to quit our jobs and then to found the company, which was named Survey Anyplace at that moment.
But did you just quit like that? Or was that a slow process?
Yeah, it was first in parallel. The whole tablet quiz was created during nights and weekends while I had still my daytime job.
Yeah.
And then when it got traction, it slowly became clear that to really launch it and to really, if you really believe in it, then you have to go all in and then you have to quit your job. Yeah, that's the way it went.
I'm often asked the question, how do I know if entrepreneurship is for me? How did you know?
Yeah, I'm not an entrepreneur by nature, I would say. Like I didn't have my own little businesses in school and so when I was young. So
Mm.
so it's not that kind of a natural thing. But I've always been passionate about it, always like been following the news about companies, especially tech companies, how they started and how they grew. So in that sense, it was like a logical choice for me. I was really passionate about it, and it was really a combination of I could yeah create the software myself, so I didn't have to hire expensive developers in the beginning at least, and yeah, and also the more business side of the software. I learned it in my consulting career, so I had a good base to go for it. And then yeah, the rest is of course like some calculated risk that you take always. Yeah. But I felt also that it was the right time. It's like when you're getting married or you're having your first child. It's also difficult to say like when it's the right moment and so, but you just feel it.
So you're an engineer, so you use your background, you use your expertise to convert it into like a software product, a software company. But in the startup industry, we often talk about, the product market fit. It's really, really important. How did you know you had market fit for your product?
Yeah, in the beginning we didn't have that was if you hesitate whether you have it or not, then probably you don't have it yet.
Right.
So in the beginning with so back then it was called Survey Anyplace, and we were in the online survey market. There's like a lot of competition in there. We had a bit of um, differentiating factors with the competition, being that we were more like respondent friendly, in comparison to the others. But that was not really enough to distinguish us. And as a result, we code quite slowly. Um, that changed then in 2019 when we switched to assessments. It was not like from one day to the other. I mean, it was like a process also. But we switched from surveys to assessments, and we also added these personalized reports, which are then automatically generated based on the results of the assessments.
Mm.
So we had one tool consisting out of two components, like the questionnaire editor and then the report generator. The fact that we had these two in one application made us unique. So then we had product market fit because it was a smaller market, but more valuable, more higher deal size, and also higher conversion because we were more unique. Yeah, so you know that you have product market fit if you from time to time have a prospect on the phone who said like, "Oh, I'm really happy that I found you guys because I've searched for this thing like a long time. It was very difficult. Tried a lot of different solutions, but were not, I mean, ideal for my use case. And now I found you, and you really spot on what I need. And that's when
Mm.
you have product market fit.
How long did it take you to get there?
Well, 7 years. So that's
Wow.
but it's not. Of course, the 7 years we also generate revenue and so on. It's not that we also had nice clients and but it didn't grow really well, and we felt um, it was gut feeling, but also if you look like for example in the books and so that are written about startups, um, yeah, they say that you have to start with a niche. You don't have to stay forever in that niche, but you have to start in a niche and then grow in that niche, and then you can go elsewhere. And so we knew what we had to do, and we also explored some niches, which yeah, after a while were just dead ends. But you don't know it until you try it out, of course. So that's why it took so long.
In the introduction, I mentioned that you've bootstrapped the company so far. Why is that? Why didn't you go after VCs?
Yeah, there's also not really this genius master plan behind it. In beginning, it was
Yeah.
just because we couldn't. If you have like such a slow growth, then it's difficult to find investors, and we were too focused also on yeah finding that niche, trying out new things. And I think in hindsight, it's the right thing to do. The only thing that you could say is that we should have done it faster. Yeah. And then after product market fit, yeah, when you go at a decent rate, then it's just a question that you have to ask yourself, like, do you want to just be independent and grow at a decent rate, or do you even want to go like more and then give up some of that independency? But if you go at 50% per year, then to go at 70, 80% or 100, 150%, is it worth it? The organization need to digest it. We have annual contracts while and people or customers pay on beforehand, so it's less need for financing. We have also some service business, also people pay on beforehand. So it's not that capital intensive the business, unless you want to really recruit like sales teams all over the world, open an office in Silicon Valley and so on. But that was not really needed to grow our business.
It's interesting what you say, that there was no evil plan or genius plan behind the company, but often it's the case.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So many entrepreneurs have told me, "Oh, I didn't know what I was doing." But I feel like you're very cautious. So you want to keep control.
Yes, that's probably there's probably some truth in there because yeah, that's also because the journey has been quite long, and to yeah, you're not anymore like appealed by these like stories of overnight success that you sometimes read in the press. So we have our story, and we think, oh, it's also an interesting story. It's more a realistic story. So yes, I would like to keep the control, but yeah, if I never say never. If it would be a good partner that can step in and that provide some resources to go even faster, it's can always be discussed, I think. But for now, it's not needed. Now we had a loan from the bank just recently, so for which we didn't have to give up any equity. So that's also a way to finance the business growth. I mean, 95% of all the businesses in the world are financed like that.
Yeah.
So why not doing it also for a software business?
Yeah, of course. It's a good reminder that you can get
Exactly.
thanks. Yes, of course. So what's next? You bootstrap to 3 million annual recurring revenue. What's next? What do you want to take this company now?
From a go-to-market perspective, we have relied quite significantly on inbound in the past and still now. So that is search traffic, Google organic, also paid advertising, Google, and also some others. So that worked, and that still is working, but it's not infinitely scalable, yeah, because there's only so many search terms per month that are used in our domain. So now we have to find other channels to complement this channel. So the first one is to go for more top of funnel marketing. So in our target audience, which are the professional service providers, like the mid-size professional service providers, that those people know us before they need us. That's always how I say it. They have to know us before they need us. It's easier said than done, but it's not impossible, because there's a lot of companies that have done that in other domains, who were successful at doing that. So that's the first thing that we have to do, this top of funnel marketing, thought leadership, content marketing. So, and the second thing is from a go-to-market perspective is to work more on existing clients. Yeah. So you have beautiful clients that have only a small license, and where we could do much more in other departments, or like with upsell to larger use of the product. So that we have to do more proactively. Yeah. So that's the second thing. And then from a product perspective, we have to where we are working now on a new module, which is called Assessment Center. Our customers create assessments with our product, and I mean, at the end, they give the link to that assessment to their customers, and they can use it. That's, I mean, very simply explained, of course, but instead of giving the link to the assessments, they can now, with the Assessment Center, they can give a link to a piece of software where their customers have to log in, a kind of portal, assessment portal, where they can see the assessment that are assigned to them, and then also distribute them via email and get the results. So in short, we enable our customers to sell software instead of services. Yeah, it's our software, but their customers will not see it's our software because it's white labeled. And that's really transformational for our customers, because our customers are professional service providers used to bill by the hour or by the day of work. And now we give them a tool to capture their expertise, to put it in our software, and to then sell that software to their clients, and not, of course, on a time and material basis, but on a recurring license basis or on a per use basis, what they want. I mean, because it's their product. Nobody sees that it's our product anymore.
You mentioned the top of funnel, but you are in the B2B, right?
Yes.
Industry. The B2B industry, it's not that easy. It's not only about like marketing. There's a lot of connections to be made. You need to make sure, because you have two layers with your client. You have the company, but you also have the people inside the company to deal with, and they all have their own agenda. How do you deal with that? How do you manage your sales?
Yeah, the sales, as it is largely inbound. So we see that people or like prospects, they already know a lot when they get in touch with us. It's not like when you go outbound, when you have to explain everything and also explain why this product is important for the prospect. That is not the case. They have done their homework. They have seen probably that there are not a lot of competitors. They have often questions like, is this possible with your tool, or how much does it cost? Like this kind of bottom of funnel questions, which is good, of course. So that's not too difficult to convert. So there also we don't do, because when I was a consultant, then indeed you had this different, I mean, these were also like bigger deals, of course, but you had these different stakeholders, and you had to go that one, because then the CTO was not yet convinced, and you had to send someone to the CTO who was technical, who could talk with that person, certainly not a salesperson. You have to think about it, and we don't have to do that to that extent now. But if we want to go more proactive sales approach, like what I've told, the upselling or the land and expand at existing customers, then we'll have to do more of that. And then the challenge will be to do that, in an online world, without having, I mean, because back in the day in consulting, it was like whining and dining. I mean, maybe exaggerating, but like it was a lot of face-to-face contact relationships. I don't think the relationship will disappear. I think the relationship has to stay, and is still a prerequisite. Only the only thing is the face-to-face is disappearing, and because it's just too expensive to go and book a flight for Australia to visit an Australian customer who has only a lifetime value of a couple of €1,000. So then the challenge is to build this relationship without face-to-face contact, and then to mimic a little bit what we've done, like in the traditional way, like with for example, in consulting environment, to do it in an online world. That is the challenge, I think.
All right. Let's focus now on you, the entrepreneur. What have you learned about yourself since you became an entrepreneur?
The nice thing about being an entrepreneur, and some will think it's nice, some will not like it that much, but it's that you have to be very all round in the beginning. And I lost that a little bit in consulting, because in these large companies you have to be quite yeah, specialized as a consultant, but then even afterwards, yeah, also you're really in your domain. So I was thinking like, will I like that or not? And I think I've learned that I have, I mean, I enjoyed doing that, but I enjoyed also like giving it then to someone else when the time is right for it. Yeah. For example, the first application, the first version application, I've developed myself, like coded it myself, but then pretty quickly I gave it to my technical co-founder who was also better better at it. So it's always you do it until you find someone who is better at you to do it, and then you give it you hand it over. And that is something that I really enjoyed. It's maybe not for everybody. Some people will not like to do everything, and some people will also not be ready to hand over something to someone if they are better at it.
Yeah.
But I was lucky. I was not really better at anything, so I'm quite all round. So that's maybe an advantage. So
Saying like you were already like a generalist,
yeah,
which is
I'm more a generalist, and I'm interested in a lot of things.
yeah.
And I don't mind to give it to someone else, even if in the beginning that someone else could also have their yeah, it will not be perfect because they have also to learn it and to get used to the company and the environment.
What was the most difficult thing to learn?
The most difficult thing was to yeah, to find that niche, um, to um, to accept that sometimes you're in a dead end. We tried something about events and like with QR codes that attendees at events had the QR codes, and then you scan it, and then you have a small survey, personal data together with the survey answer are stored in the cloud. And so, I mean, yeah, and then we did it with some events, and we had to go to these events to help and people who organized that. It was really nice, but it was difficult to accept that after all, it was not scalable. Or, I mean, we tried then to sell it at other event organizer, but it didn't work that well. Sometimes you immediately see that it doesn't work. Sometimes you immediately see that it works, but then often it's in the middle, and then it's difficult to estimate whether you will continue that path or not. That is the most difficult thing, I think.
Is there anything you would have done differently?
But I still don't have a magical solution for that or so. But I would this experimentation, because that's what it is. In fact, you experiment about like certain use cases for your product.
Yeah.
um, to um, to do it more methodological and to do it faster. To say on beforehand, these are the criteria for success, and then if these are not met, we go to the next thing, and then you can do it faster instead of thinking, yeah, if you just develop this feature, it will work, and so I mean, you know how it goes. Yeah.
So don't look for perfection. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So don't look for perfection, but establish clear goals on where you need to be, and if these goals are not met, you have to take some kind of action, either forget that path and pivot to something else, or yeah, or invest in a better product, or have another experiment. So and set yourself goals for not only also the speed, like the when something has to be decided whether you go for it or not.
I help entrepreneurs not being the bottleneck in their businesses. When was the last time you were but the bottleneck in your business?
Yeah, last year we I think we had to yeah to recruit some people, and we didn't really have an HR person
Mhm.
because she was temporarily out, and then I was also like on a holiday during a period. I mean, that's maybe not a good excuse, but I mean, for the whole recruiting last year, I mean, not maybe not in during the complete year, but I was like the bottleneck. If we would have then a professional recruiter, instead of me, then it would have been faster. Yeah. So that's an example.
Mm.
But it's
How
not
many
maybe as bad as it seems. I mean, it's only like a certain period, but yeah, then I felt I was the bottleneck.
how many employees did you recruit by yourself last year?
About 8 employees last year, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, to recruit 8, you need to interview like multiple of that. You have people that last minute say no to your offer, and then you don't have anybody else. So then you have to start all over again. You have to recruit not only these 8 or only the internals. You have to also recruit consultants and others. I mean, it's yeah, there's quite a lot of work
Yeah.
behind.
Yeah. And so how much time did you spend on that recruitment last year? Apparently too much time.
Too much time, but yeah, it's easily yeah, in certain periods I think it's easily, yeah, 20-30% of my time.
That is an interesting one because you were talking earlier about how good you are at delegating.
We have an open position for an HR manager, by the way, so we have
Yeah,
so if there's any candidates. No, we had a HR person for 2 days per week.
yeah.
Like 1 day per week, but now 2 days per week. But it's like a freelance person. But now we will replace her by a full-time person, because if you're 30 and going to 40, then it makes sense to have a full-time HR.
No, I'm joking with you, but being the boss, so like this is a great example. You want to do everything by yourself.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I also know that, if I am not mistaken, you are into sports, aren't you? Like
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm doing mountain biking, also road cycling, kite surfing. Yeah.
And so, as I'm into sports too, and I think I like to talk about it. I like to talk about the analogy between sports and entrepreneurship, because there's so many parallels. How is sports helping you being a better entrepreneur?
Yeah, the first thing maybe to be yeah, disconnected while doing sports. I think you need that. I mean, maybe not everybody achieves this through sports. Can also be other things maybe. But for me, it's like when I'm kite surfing, for example, I don't think about work, or I might be thinking about work sometimes, but not in a way that it's stressful or so. So I'm completely, yeah, deconnected,
Mm,
and enjoying the sensation and the nature. Same like with cycling, it's more like with friends and in group. So that's really helping, I think. Also, yeah, also I'm going sometimes for a run, and it's like it also only take a half an hour, 40 minutes, and then I mean, when you come back, you're completely recharged. And then, yeah, on the other side, you have also like the competition element. Um,
mm,
Try to be to achieve something. I'm not I'm doing any competition or so. For my sports. But we, for example, do a mountain bike weekend in France every year, and then you have to like train for it, because otherwise it's too difficult. You don't enjoy it. So you have something to work towards too. And that's also like that's an interesting analogy indeed, that you have to plan your trainings. You have to, but like in a way, it's fun also. The journey is also fun, or should also be fun. And the achievement is also fun, of course, and that's the same in work. The achievement, if ever like the company gets sold or whatever, I mean, that will be, of course, like a big event. But that's not the only thing. That if the journey towards that goal is not fun, and only the goal is the fun part, then it's not good, because the journey just takes so long, so many years.
yeah.
So you have to enjoy it also. And that's yeah, that's another analogy with sports.
And I hear so many entrepreneurs telling me, oh, yeah, but I don't have time. I know the importance of, I should take care of myself and be healthy and blah, blah, blah. But I don't have time. I have a business to run.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let me ask you, how do you find the time?
Yeah, in the beginning, I had also like this feeling that every minute that I don't invest in my business is kind of
Wasted?
wasted and and
Yeah.
and will postpone everything, which is in a certain sense can be true also. But you have to yeah, you have to make yourself take some time free to sports or to do something else, and yeah, I think it's a matter of good planning. And trying to be organized. I'm also like commuting to work by bike,
Mm.
so that's two things at once. You listen to podcasts while working out, so you learn also something. I mean, you have to combine it. Everybody has to find his or her like way of doing it, but it's certainly possible. Certainly with all the new, yeah, like possibilities. I mean, you can here in Antwerp, you can go fitness at noon, and you don't lose too much time. It's certainly possible. You just have to do it. I think. Yeah.
Okay, so uh, my last question. If you take all your experience as an entrepreneur, what would be the one recommendation that you would give to other entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs?
So people often say that you have to use your network, yeah, your personal network to grow your business, and that's completely true. I would also give that advice. So especially in the beginning, you go to your network and you explain what you're doing or what you're planning to do. And some of them will say, okay, I know someone who can use your product. Some of them might use your product or be a potential client in their business. And in that way, you will gain or you will acquire some, yeah, early customers.
Mm.
Of course, I mean, the fact that you know people will not make them immediately a customer, but you have an entry point, and then afterwards you have to prove still that you have a good product and everything, and then they will eventually become a customer. So that's all good. That's good advice. But beside that, I would also give the advice to go beyond your network as fast as possible or as soon as possible, because when you get stuck in that network, the scalability becomes an issue. Um, so because your network is only your network, I mean, some of us have a bigger network than others, but it's still limited. So you use your network for these first customers, and you have some interesting logos and potentially also customers that want to do a testimonial. And then you use that to go beyond your network as soon as possible, because the yeah, the first yeah, moment of intense satisfaction when you're starting a business is of course your first client, like the first person who wants to pay for your product.
Mm.
But the second one, and is also quite intense, I think, is when some complete stranger, because the first one is probably not is somewhere connected to you via your network, and that's a good thing. But the second moment of intense satisfaction is when complete stranger, like someone from Australia, who went on the website and then had a call with you and then became a customer.
Yeah.
I mean they don't know you. That is outside your network, and once you have that, then you can really scale, because if that works with some random person from Australia, it's not a random person, of course. It's someone who fits in your product ideal audience or ideal customer profile. But then yeah, like other people from other countries which fits the same profile and have the same needs in their business will also be interested in your product.
Yes, it's funny because while you were talking, I was remembering my first client. So yeah, my first clients came from my network. But then after that, I got my first client outside my network, the complete stranger you were talking about. I
Yeah.
remember.
That's a nice thing to experience, indeed. Yeah.
Yes. All right, we're coming to the end of this interview. I have one more question for you. How can people contact you?
I'm quite active on LinkedIn, so you can just search for my name, Stefan Debois, and then connect with me. I'm happy to share experiences with the listeners. And we have also, of course, the website of Pointerpro. That's pointerpro.com, and there you find more about yeah, our product, of course, but also like some content about digitizing professional services, like blog articles, case studies, videos, and so on.
Thank you very much, Stefan, for your time today.
Thank you, Laurent. It was a pleasure.
And thank you for listening. I'd love to hear your feedback. Reach out to me by email, contact@laurentnotin.com, or connect with me on LinkedIn and let me know what your favorite part of this episode was. See you next time. Bye for now.